welcome to our virtual teaching kitchen class. We are so sad that we can't be with you. You guys are one of our favorite groups to visit. We love getting out of the university and going out into the town and seeing you all. So hopefully we will be back in person with you soon. But until then, Chef Marissa and I wanted to make something fun. I believe you've gotten the ingredient list ahead of time, so if you want to cook along with us, you can. If not, you can watch it now and then go out and get the ingredients, maybe make a little something later. So I'll go over quick what we're going to make. I'm going to do this raspberry banana muffin. That's a little healthier version. Then we're going to do a blueberry feta salad with some homemade vinaigrette.
And to finish it off, we're going to do the red and black. It's a nice little summertime drink. We'll have fun with that one.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to do the muffins, and then we'll hop into the salad, and then Marissa's going to come back and help me a little with the salad, and then do her cocktail. So
I'll see you in a few.
All right, so one of my favorite breakfast foods is muffins. I just love baked goods. I love baking. I grew up baking with my grandma, and I know some of you know my grandparents too from 50 North. So I wanted to do a little bit of a healthier take. As you know, I'm a pretty realistic dietitian that I like my sweets too, so I'm not going to completely make this so healthy that you aren't going to want to eat it. But we're going to take 2 very ripe bananas, and as you can tell, these ones are super ripe. This one's even might be leaking a little, but that's the best flavor profile that you're going to get for any kind of banana bread. So letting them sit on the counter for a few days. Sometimes I purposely buy bananas and don't eat them just so I can make bread. So we're gonna get rid of these. These are strong. Okay. And depending on the size of your banana, it's about 1 cup mashed or 2 to 3 bananas. I usually do just 2 large bananas, and that's just enough to get it through. Another thing that you can do is freeze them, and you can pull them out later and make bread, or you can make smoothies with them. So just because your bananas are turning brown doesn't mean that you have to let them go in the trash. You can do all kinds of fun stuff with them. All right, so we got our bananas all nice and mashed up. And it's okay if you have a little chunk in there. Sometimes it will bake out, or it'll just, you may have a little flavorful spot, if I can get the word out, in your bread. So then we're gonna need a burner for this, and it's just to melt some coconut oil. So what we're gonna do is put our burner on, we're gonna do about medium heat, and you're gonna go ahead and take about a 1/3 cup of coconut oil and put it in there. And we're gonna let that slowly start melting. And coconut oil usually doesn't take very long to melt. And it is very pungent, and it will also kind of change the flavor of your muffin. All right, it's already melting really well. So then we're gonna add a few more wet ingredients. And we have our milk, and the recipe will be posted with this. So if you're uncertain about some of the exact amounts, it's going to be written right below this video so that you can reference it. So it is about a 1/2 cup of milk. We have 2 eggs, and I'm not nearly as talented as Chef Marissa, who can crack them with one hand and not get any shell in there. So I'm gonna crack mine in a smaller bowl first. All right, I actually did that without any shells getting in that. Mix this up together. Check on our coconut oil, it's already melted. And this is a little different than what you may be used to. We're actually gonna take our 1/4 cup sugar and put it in with the coconut oil and stir it. And this will help it blend a little better. And this, you can go ahead and turn your heat off as soon as your oil is melted. Got just a few chunks in there. And this is what it's gonna look like. very sugary. You can also substitute with coconut sugar if you really like that coconut flavor. Really, you can do all different kinds of sugars. That's up to you. Except if you use artificial sweeteners, the ratio is going to be a little different, and it doesn't take nearly as much, but it might throw off the whole texture of your muffin. So I recommend just using regular sugar. All right, we're going to put this in with our wet ingredients. Give it another good stir. And then the last wet ingredient that we're going to add is our vanilla. It calls for about 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla. If you're someone like me, I like to do a little more than that because I love the flavor of vanilla. So I have about a little over a teaspoon here in mine. That's just a personal preference. I believe, Chef, vanilla doesn't affect the texture or anything in the muffin as much, right? It's more for flavor?
Correct.
That's what I thought. So like I said, if you're a big vanilla lover, go ahead and add a little more. All right, so we have our wet ingredients all mixed up. I'm gonna clean up our space a little. So then the dry ingredients, so we have some cinnamon, some baking soda, a little bit of salt, oats, flour, and raspberries. So one of the things that I always recommend, and you'll probably notice in any recipe, is that any baking recipe at least, is that you should do your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients separate, and that just helps everything mix together better. It'll prevent you from getting like big dry clumps of flour in the middle of your banana bread, and just evenly distribute all of the ingredients. So we're gonna go ahead and just mix all the dry together. Just give it a good stir. And I also added a little more cinnamon than it calls for because I personally love cinnamon as well. So the more the merrier for me. But that's another spice that if you maybe didn't want to add it, you don't have to. Or you could always add a little bit of nutmeg. That's something I love adding to my fruit breads when I bake them. I think it gives it a really nice flavor. All right, so then we're gonna add them together. Sometimes it will say to make a well in the middle of the dry ingredients and add the wet. I kind of didn't plan my bowls out well enough to do that, but it doesn't normally affect it too much. I think that's more with bread, isn't that, Chef? If you're doing like a kneading bread. But with muffins, it should be just fine. All right, we got that mixed together. Last thing that we're gonna do, and the great part about muffins that I love is that you can substitute really any fruit that you want. This month we were focusing on berries for our theme, so since berries are in season right now, that's why we're doing the raspberry muffins with the blueberry salad, and Chef is gonna use strawberries for her cocktail. So I'm using raspberries for my fruit today. That's also one of mine and Chef Marissa's favorite fruits. So if I wasn't using this, I would recommend blueberries. And then what you're going to want to do is just lightly fold these in. You don't want to mix this, and especially not with a stand mixer, because it's just going to mash the berries. And it won't necessarily taste bad, it's just not going to look as pretty, and when you bite into it, the raspberries are going to be everywhere instead of kind of like a blueberry muffin where they're still in place. All right, so we just have it lightly folded. And then the last step, and I should have mentioned before, was that we preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And depending on what kind of oven you have, you may need to go a little lower or a little higher. For us, we have a convection oven here in the teaching kitchen, so we usually go just a little lower because it doesn't take nearly as long, and it can be really easy to burn, especially baked goods like that. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take a muffin tin, and you could even do mini muffins if you want. You could do like the Texas-sized muffins if that's what you're after. Really doesn't matter. And I'm just going to put some liners in. And we're doing some bigger size muffins, so this is going to make about 6 or 7. I think mine made 7 last time I did it. But it is a recipe that would make about 12 standard size muffins. But, you know, go big or go home, right? We want the big muffins. So all we're gonna do, I'm gonna do this so that maybe you can see it a little better, is just start scooping them. And you're gonna do this. I put my muffins pretty full. With how dense these are, they don't rise nearly as much as what like a cupcake would, where you really have to worry about it overflowing. So we'll go ahead and finish the rest of these later and pop them in the oven. You're gonna do about 15 to 20 minutes or until the tops are golden brown. And then let them cool, and you can enjoy them warm, or let them completely cool and you can enjoy them for a few days. Right here we have a perfect example of how they turn out. And these are one of my personal favorite breakfast recipes. You got a great, delicious, somewhat healthy muffin, or it can even be a great side on a summer salad. Instead of having just typical French bread, maybe add a fruit bread like a banana bread. So we're gonna clean up real quick and then we're gonna get started on our salad. We're back. So the next thing that we are going to do is one of my all-time favorite summertime salads, and it is a blueberry spinach feta salad. And for this, we're gonna do a little bit of mise en place here. So Chef, you taught me what mise en place means. Do you wanna share with them?
So mise en place means everything in its place. So you should always remember before you get started doing anything to gather all your ingredients, have all your measured cups, your bowls, everything like that, because it makes life a whole lot easier. Instead of in the middle of your recipe, you go, uh-oh, as we've all done, and realize that you're missing an ingredient or that something's not ready for the step that you're about ready to do. So that is mise en place, everything in its place.
Yes, so we have our fresh spinach, and I'm just gonna kind of set these to the side. This is actually a mixture that I picked up at Meijer, but you could just buy them separate, put them together. It's just walnuts and dried cherries. So I personally prefer dried cherries way more than craisins. I don't know about you, Chef. Dried cherries are one of my all-time favorites.
I'm not gonna lie, dried cherries would be one of my all-time favorites. I like especially the nice tart ones.
Yes.
They just have, I think, much more of a natural flavor. Is that what you want to say? I don't know. Craisins,
Yeah.
they're good. Why they're good?
Mm-hmm.
Tart cherries are where it's at,
I agree.
especially with the ingredients you have today.
Yes. So then we have just some fresh blueberries. And for these, you don't necessarily need any specific amounts. Because, you know, kind of like with any salad, you can make it your own. Then we have 2 lemons. This lemon is huge, so we may not even need the whole thing. We have some feta cheese and some onion. And then the last few ingredients are for our dressing, so I'm going to set them over here so we don't mix anything up. We have some olive oil, some Dijon mustard, some poppy seeds, a little bit of honey, some black pepper, and some salt. And then we have ourselves some tasting spoons so that Chef Marissa and I can see how we like our dressing. So Chef, if you want to go ahead and put the spinach in the bowl, and then I'm going to let you put in however many blueberries you think would look good. But you know me, blueberries are my favorite, so I put the whole thing in.
I was like, pretty much, I was going to do the same thing. I was going to do the whole thing. Oh, yes,
Beautiful.
perfect.
So, let's just look at this shot. Look at how beautiful that looks. It looks like summer in a bowl. All right, and then the the cherries and the walnuts, however much you want. Again, I do the whole thing because that's just me. And then our feta cheese. How much would you say, Chef?
All of it?
Depends. I know some people love feta. They hate feta. What's a cheese that you could substitute?
On this one, Parma's going to be about the same. It's going to have that kind of same flavor, but a nice, really shredded Parm would be good in this one too.
Okay.
You could do one of the softer cheeses like the Gouda or the Frontina.
Would blue cheese go? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Blue
Okay.
cheese would be. I didn't even
That's
think about
another
that.
one.
That's one of my favorite cheeses. I went all over the board on that.
So yeah, you can use really whatever cheese you want, right?
You really can.
Okay. So yeah, those are just some ideas that you could switch it up if maybe you aren't a big feta person. So Chef, I'll let you throw however much feta you want in there.
We're gonna go half. We'll go half, then we'll try it and we'll decide if we need more.
Perfect. That looks beautiful. All right. And then we just have our onion. So I'm gonna have Chef Marissa guide me through how to properly cut an onion. So we're gonna take the ends off, right, Chef?
Yes, you're gonna take the ends off, and are you slicing or are you dicing?
We are going to make thin slices.
Okay, so yes, you're gonna take the end off, and then when you get to the root side, always remember, don't take the entire root off, because that actually will hold your onion together. If you take it all off, then it's going to be really difficult.
Like that?
Yes.
So that's what it's gonna look like?
Yep, just a little bit.
And you don't have to take much of each end off at all. A lot of people think you have to cut a huge side out of it. You really don't have to.
Not at all.
All right, so where am I going from here?
So then you always want to cut on a flat side. So you want to take this and you want to set it up. So there you go. Because that way the onion's not rolling on you, and then you're going to cut it in half. Perfect.
And I should have mentioned before, I'm wearing a cut glove for safety. That's one of the things that we are required to do here, and it will keep the knife from hopefully going through to your hand. At home, some cutting board safety tips. What are ones that you have, Chef?
So we have little rubber grips on ours that come built into the cutting board, which you can see it won't move. So not a lot of people have that. If you don't, not a problem. Take a wet towel, put that wet towel underneath your board, and that way you're not chasing your board around and cutting yourself that way.
Perfect. All right, so now where are we going? Peel it?
Yep, now you're gonna peel it.
See, I was always taught, my mom always told me that you should peel the whole thing first. That's not true, is it?
Actually, some people, yes, they do it that way, where they cut it and then they peel it. So it's really your preference.
All right, we got the first layer off. Now what am I going for?
So, actually, you are cutting all the way through because you're cutting thin slices, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So I was wrong when I said leave the root on. You are going to take the root off so that you can go through the slices.
So it did make it a little easier, though, to cut it down to this point. All right.
And then you're just going to turn it this way. And then you take your knife, and there's actually almost, when you look at the onion, you can kind of see there's almost little guidelines on there. If you want your onion slices that big, just follow the natural onion guidelines.
Not nearly as good at this as Chef.
That's all right. Everybody's got to practice.
All right. We're just going to take some, right, and pull it apart and sprinkle it on there?
Yep.
All right, I'll let you put on however much you think. I love onion. Really, when it sounds like we're making this, we're like, we love all these ingredients. We'll just put all of them on there.
I think we love all food, don't we?
Yeah, that's true. I don't think there's any that either of us are like, I will not try that.
Well, there's maybe one thing I won't eat. One thing.
What is it?
Eggplant.
Oh yeah, that is true.
I don't care.
And I even grew some
eggplant
on.
care for it.
I even grew some eggplant on our green roof upstairs this summer, and the whole time I was like, I know one person that will not eat this. It will be Chef Marissa. All right, so we're just gonna put our extra onion to the side here. We're gonna move on to our vinaigrette. So we just have this bowl here. I'm gonna put all of the olive oil in. So it's about half a cup, maybe a little less. And then this is about 2 tablespoons of honey. Would you put the whole thing in, Chef?
I usually go less because if I put all that ingredient in and I decide it's too sweet, then I got to try and rebalance it. So I usually try to go less first, and then if I still think I need it, then I can add. It's easier to add than it is to take it away in a recipe.
Oops, got her tangled up there. All right, and then we're gonna do about a tablespoon of Dijon. I'm gonna go a little under. And then a pinch of salt and pepper. And then our lemon. So, Chef, would you recommend zesting first or cutting first?
Zesting first, so it'll make it a whole lot easier on you.
All right.
And so Paige is zesting it. When you zest, you want to make sure you don't go all the way down. You don't want to go past the white, the pith part, because it becomes really bitter then, and it's going to give you a bitter flavor. So just make sure that you only go just the top part. And what you're doing is, that's a lot of concentrated lemon flavor right there when you're doing a zest, or if you're zesting limes or oranges or any of the citrus fruits. That's just some great extra added bonus flavor in your dish.
We wish we had smell vision
Oh,
so you
yes.
could smell this right now. Would you say that's good, or do you want more?
I think that's perfect.
Okay. So we got our fresh lemon zest in there. All right, now we're gonna cut it in half. Juicing. We good with this, or would you recommend doing it by hand?
No, you can do it either way. Except where is it going? Anyways, you
We
can.
need-
I think you might need
Forgot
a
the
bowl.
You guys are used to us, though. We usually come to 50 North, and every single time we realize that we forget at least
forget
one
something.
thing, and we say it's not a trip there unless we forget something.
That's right. But it's no big deal too, because we improvise and we know what we need to do, and then it teaches you another way to do it too.
All right.
So either way,
So squeeze it up, right? So
Yep,
that the
just-
seeds fall into your hand.
that is right. Woo!
This one's juicy.
Perfect.
How much would you recommend? Just a half for now? See where we're at, or would you do the whole thing?
On that one, I'd probably do the whole thing.
All right.
That's a pure guess out of me. But the amount of juice that's coming out, I would say that was probably only about a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons that came out of there. And you're going to want a little more than that. You want that really bright, fresh flavor to be in the salad.
Perfect.
So, Paige, have you thought about any other kind of things that you could put in that salad dressing?
Ooh, so I love any kind of citrus. So depending on the salad, you could do orange, you could do lime. A lot of people, you don't have to have olive oil to do it. You can use canola oil. Are there any other bases that you would recommend using, Chef?
There's probably just about any kind you could think of. There's avocado oil out there now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a walnut oil. So
Yeah.
it's always about experimenting and finding the flavors that you enjoy together. What Paige gave you is the base for a vinaigrette, and you can change any of those flavors in there. You change the oil, you change the mustard, you change the acid, which is the lemon. So you can, instead of using lemon, you can use the lime, the orange, you can use vinegar instead. There's a wide range. So this is a great base vinaigrette that you can go crazy with.
Yes. Balsamic is one of my favorites,
Yes.
balsamic vinegar. I love using that into my base. So we're just gonna go ahead and whisk this together. And I wanted to get this mixed really well before we add the poppy seeds in. Oh my goodness, it smells amazing.
I'm excited.
And then it's about half a tablespoon of poppy seeds. So that is what we're looking at. Now I think Chef and I are gonna try it. See what it needs.
Look at it, it needs a whole lot.
I know, that's rare. Usually I'm like,
No, I say you nailed it.
wow.
Nailed it.
That's
Really,
rare.
it's really good.
So
It's got a great, bright, tart flavor right in the back here, which is going to pair really well with that green from the, that the
yes.
spinach. Oh, very, very good. Very good.
So I think the biggest thing though that we see when people are making vinaigrettes in the teaching kitchen is that they need salt, right?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe a little more acid.
Yes.
But other than that, I think a lot of times we try to overpower the flavors before we think about what it's being paired with.
Absolutely. That's the thing. Is this sweet? Then if this is sweet, then this needs to be a little tart. If this is, and if it's the opposite way, that's how you look at things. So.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and pour that on. You could even put some grilled chicken, even some salmon, something like that if you wanted some.
Salmon would be excellent on the top of there. That'd be very good.
Perfect. All right. So I think that's it. There is our fresh summertime blueberry feta salad with our very own homemade vinaigrette. All right, and we'll be right back, and Chef is going to make her cocktail.
All right, we're back, and we're gonna finish this day off with you with a little, it's called the red and black. And yes, it is a cocktail, but I will tell you at the end of this when we have the tequila that you won't need tequila if you don't want to use it as a cocktail. You can use it as a mocktail. So the first thing we're going to do is, it's called the red, or the strawberries, and it's called the black because we're going to make black pepper simple syrup, which is really unique. So we're going to take a half a cup of water. I already have my burner turned on so the water's warm. Or not the water's warm, that the pan is warm. Jeez, I can't think today. But that should be no shock to you because you guys have been with me enough. All right, I'm going to add a half a cup of sugar. So that was a half a cup of water and a half a cup of sugar. I'm going to stir that up. Now, when it comes to the pepper, I chose peppercorns today, but you'll see in a little bit that I've already made some black pepper simple syrup because you want it cold when you go to make your drink. I used a really large ground black pepper. It comes out very spicy. So the black peppercorns might be a nice alternative, so that's why I'm going to try that today. And I did 2 tablespoons. So it was half a cup of water, half a cup of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of black peppercorn. And whenever you're making a simple syrup, which is a great thing, simple syrups are great. You can just do regular simple syrup, which is just the sugar and the water. You can use that to sweeten your iced tea, you can use it to sweeten your lemonade, anything like that. Your drinks, that's what a lot of cocktails use is a simple syrup. So it's something great to make and have around so that you don't have to like try and stir the granulated sugar in there. The other thing you can do, like today we're infusing the flavor of black pepper in it. You could do a basil infused simple syrup, you could do a lavender simple syrup, you name it. You could make just about anything into a simple syrup, which would be a great addition, like I said, to your lemonades, your iced teas, or a cocktail that you're making. So I will show you. It just simply looks like this. But what we're going to do is we're going to let that come to a boil. Once it boils, we're going to boil it for about a minute. And it's going to dissolve the sugar, and then it's going to get a little thicker. So we're going to let it do its thing. I'll show it to you what it looks like when it's ready. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to work on the drink right now. So you want to take about 3 strawberries, and we're going to drop those in our shaker. And this shaker is called a Boston shaker. There are some shakers that come with a lid on it, and it already has the strainer. I like the Boston shaker because I always tell everybody when you make a drink with this, you always got to have your own little routine that you do, so you got to look good when you're doing it. All right, so I dropped the 3 strawberries in there, and this is called a muddler. Don't worry, you don't have a muddler. It's not a problem. Even if you don't have a cocktail shaker, you can make this without it too. But the muddler just is going to release the juices on the strawberry. If you don't have a muddler, you can use the back of a really nice tablespoon. And what you want to probably do is take that berry and push it up against the wall of your glass or your shaker and use the back of the spoon that way and smash it that way. This, just do a couple of times. These are, oh my gosh, these are great berries. If you see it there, they're great berries because they really have a lot of juice in them. And then what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to stir myself real quick. I'm going to add, it's probably about 2 ounces, and that was probably about 2 ounces worth of strawberries. And so I'm going to do about 2 ounces of lime juice. Whoops. Which is about a whole lime. You can use the lime juice that's in the bottle. It is not my favorite because if you ever have fresh lime and then you try that, there's definitely a different flavor. If you do use the bottled lime juice, go back, drop back a little bit from the 2 ounces because it's got more of a concentration to it. All right, now I'm going to add about half my ice. And then I'm going to take my favorite, the tequila that I have, and it was my favorite, but the tequila that we have. And we're going to do about 2 ounces of that. I'm going to drop that in there like that. And then we're going to take some of the black pepper. And I'm going to do about 1 ounce of the black pepper syrup because it is rather strong. And in the meantime, I can smell my syrup, and it is already actually done. And I will show it to you. So if you could see, you can't because of all the black peppers, but the peppercorns, if you notice, this syrup I made with the ground black pepper is rather dark. The one with the peppercorns is a little lighter. So once you do this, you're going to strain it, which would be the other easy thing for using peppercorns. The peppercorns are easier to find a strainer that they won't fall through. So you need to strain this after it's done. Put it in a jar or a glass bottle and put it in the fridge and cool it down before you use it, which is what I did with this. All right, so we've muddled the strawberries, we've squeezed the lime, we've added ice, we put the tequila in there, we put the black pepper syrup, and I told you I'd tell you a trick. If you don't want the tequila, what you can do is you could do some club soda. That always makes a really nice bubbly cocktail. If you wanted it a little sweeter, you could add some Sprite to it, and that would work too. So it doesn't have to have tequila in it if you don't want it. All right, I'm gonna take the top of my shaker, put it on the top. We're gonna shake it. And then with the Boston shaker, sometimes too, it looks like it's stuck. It's not. Just give it a tap, and it releases your glass. Now, I'm going to take a rocks glass, and I'm going to rim it. And in my rimming, I put sugar and ground black pepper and salt, because this is almost like a margarita, but it's got that great peppery flavor to it. So that's why we did the combination of the sugar, the salt, and the black pepper. You take your lime, and I cut a little lip in my lime, and then you're gonna squeeze it around the edge. Drop it in your sugar, salt, and pepper mix. I'm gonna pour a drink in. If you need to add extra ice, you can. See all the great pieces of strawberries in there? Won't they taste delicious? So you probably need a spoon for this drink too. Put our lime on there, clean up my mess, and there, uh-oh. All right, lime's back on. There you go. You can enjoy the red and the black. And I think Paige is gonna come back in a minute and join us so we can say goodbye together. Enjoy.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us, and we really hope that we can be back with you in person soon. I know I had a lot of fun. Did you, Chef?
I always have a lot of fun. And I always miss you guys when I don't get to see you, so this has been really hard on us too. So at least this way, I kind of get to see you.
Yeah, if you make any of this, please send your photos to us. We'll put my email below this video, and also if you know Margie, you can send them to her. We would love to feature what you all make at home with these recipes.
Hope to see you soon.